In today's video, I want to talk about Mexico's very own Bermuda Triangle, the Zone of Silence, also known as the Mapimi Silent Zone. And I hope I haven't butchered that name straight up at the beginning of the video. Welcome back to my channel. I am a horror artist that makes conspiracy, scary facts, true crime videos, but I also have a drawing that goes along with it because I like drawing disturbing things, and what better than to draw disturbing events that have happened in history. And if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe, all that good stuff, so you can make sure that you never miss one of my videos. Now let's get on with the video. So this is my understanding of the Zone of Silence. The Zone of Silence is a spooky and weird location that is located in the heart of the desert between Durango, Coahuila, and I've probably butchered that name, and Chihuahua, in a 50-kilometer square area. Millions of years ago, this part of the world was covered in water from the Sea of Thetis, and there is also a lot of fossils and marine animals found there because of it. So why is this piece of land, this isolated desert spot, called the Zone of Silence? It's because from 1930 onwards, a pilot named Francesco Sarabia flew his plane over the area and experienced radio and instrumental failure. No forms of communication would work, but the weird thing was, when they went to try and fix it, the so-called silent areas would move. Also, compasses would spin out of control. In 1970, the Athena RTV rocket was tested in Utah, which was carrying radioactive cobalt-57 and was destined to be dropped in the white sands in New Mexico desert, but was projected further accidentally due to communication issues and crashed into the Zone of Silence. No one knows why it went into the direction of the Zone of Silence, but quite a few people have their theories on why it happened, and it could be linked to either a supernatural or electromagnetic property. The US got permission to retrieve the debris, but when they got there, this is when they realized that no communication would work, no TVs or satellite signals. After a few weeks, they finally found the rocket and did a radioactive cleanup. Apparently they cleaned up 20 tons of dirt, plants, sand, everything that was in this area where this rocket had basically exploded, which, you know, obviously because it was radioactive and they couldn't leave it there. And they moved all of that debris to the White Sands Desert. Now this is one of the cool bits of information about the Zone of Silence. It has the same near longitudinal alignment of the Giza Plateau and the Bermuda Triangle, which has conspiracy theorists going wild over the area being a magnet for paranormal activity, and all of these anomalies happened well before the Athena rocket incident. It has a strong magnetic field due to high mineral levels. Apparently there is a lot of magnetite and uranium there, which has scientists speculating that this is the reason for a lot of meteorites coming close to the vicinity, which pulls them in due to the meteorites having high levels of iron and other metals that get attracted to magnetic fields. There has been many reports from people that live near the Zone of Silence that a lot of UFO activity happens there, and weird animals not found anywhere else have been spotted there, larger and weirder than ever. Centipedes that measure a foot long have been spotted with purple patches, along with albino reptiles such as snakes and lizards. I think the radiation might play a factor with these animals, maybe, but it doesn't explain the other shit that happens in this area, happening before and after the rocket crashed into that location. There has been a few reports on people being stranded or have had issues in the desert and have been approached by blonde humanoid beings that have lent a hand and then completely vanished. Some properties close to the area have reported 2 men and 1 woman with blonde hair that have walked in and asked for water, been very polite as well, but wanted nothing else, no food or help, just want to fill their canisters up and then they leave. Apparently their Spanish is quite flawless as well. Some of the people have asked them where they are from, and the blonde-haired humanoids just say, "From above," as they point and look to the sky. Anyone who gets lost in this part of the desert always seems to see these blonde beings that don't seem to leave any trace or footprints or anything. In 1976, people who lived in Ceballos witnessed a large object hovering in the skies above them. A deep humming and bright light was reported also. A man named Ruben Lopez went to Ceballos to visit family. On his way there, while driving through the zone of silence, his car engine started to play up, so he stopped. Next minute, he saw 5 very small figures standing on the side of the road wearing what appeared to be silver suits and helmets. He decided to try to start his car up and turn the lights on, and apparently when he did so, they seemed to disappear. As soon as they disappeared, his car started running fine and the engine stopped playing up. He was able to drive off with no more problems. In 1975, Ernesto and Josefina Diaz went to the zone to get some fossils and unusual rocks from this eerie desert. While they were collecting samples, a storm started to brew out of nowhere and they ended up getting caught in the flash flood that rendered their new 4x4 stuck in the mud, so to speak. They tried to get their 4B out, but couldn't. That's when 2 human-like figures wearing yellow raincoats approached them out of nowhere. The couple reported that the men had unusual features, but nothing that was sort of scary or scared them. They offered the Diaz's assistance, and the 2 men told the couple to get back in their 4-wheel drive and they would push them out. Before they could do anything, the 4B was pushed out and placed on solid ground. Ernesto got out of the car to thank the men, but there was no one there, and no trace of them at all. No footprints, no nothing. People who drive at night in this area often see weird lights that resemble fireballs, maneuver in weird ways and directions, changing colours and just hovering. Farm owners have seen lights coming down from the sky that released humanoid-looking beings that glowed the same, leaving the farmers panicked and running for their lives. There may be an attraction for the ETs to this site, as it's highly magnetic, and this may serve some purpose for them for their crafts, if you believe in that theory, that the UFOs are charged from the certain points on the Earth, like the ley lines, that have a significant amount of energy to grab. A lot of scientists and archaeologists have investigated the area and find it hard to explain what goes on there. They have been unable to determine the age of the fossils found, and the amount of tools and debris found leaves them baffled that this desolate desert land was quite active at one point in history. No one can explain why these Nordic-looking people are the most sighted beings in the area that appear and disappear in locations where they possibly couldn't have been at the same time as the travellers that have witnessed them, because it is so remote. Like, the odds of seeing another human being in the same spot is actually pretty low, apparently. Some believe there is a portal there, like some other spots on the Earth. For example, Skinwalker Ranch, which I do a video on, which I believe is another hot spot for the similar activities, where it's obviously some sort of place where there is a lot more energy and just weird shit happens. Could this be where there is portals, interdimensional beings interacting with us? Could the energy be just right for these dimensions to open and for weird things to happen? Or is it a government conspiracy where they drum up and fabricate these stories to attract tourism to the area? What are your thoughts? I would like to hear your thoughts on this, and I would like to hear from anybody who has driven through this area or knows anybody that has had any kind of experience with the Zone of Silence. Let me know in the comments below, because I just love hearing about this sort of stuff, and I love hearing from first-hand information, because obviously the information that I get on these topics is from websites, TV shows. The first time I ever heard about the Zone of Silence was when I was watching Ancient Aliens, and I was really fascinated by it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Zone of Silence, and whether or not you think what actually happens out there is real, or if it's just complete crap, or whatever you think. Whatever you think, let me know. So the illustration that I decided to do for this topic was of an alien being, and he is in a yellow raincoat as suggested by one of the stories, and he is just basically wandering the desert looking for people to help. He's got a gas canister and he's got a water canister, and surprisingly, this illustration has got no blood in it, but I put some green goo coming out of his mouth, and he's just like, he's a hideous sort of alien type humanoid creature, but he just wants to help people. That's it. He is, he's a good Samaritan, a good alien Samaritan. But I'm pretty sure if you came across this fella in the desert, even if you wanted to help, you would be probably quite terrified. I know I would be. But anyway, that is it from me. Hopefully you enjoyed the art in this video and the topic that I was talking about with the Zone of Silence. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.